This is the Kitchen Sink WP podcast, episode 242.
Program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have a handful of WordCamps and some other events as well. We have WordCamp Nice. It's in France. I've actually been there, not to that WordCamp, but I've been to Nice a long time ago, about 20 years ago. It's coming up October 19th, one-day camp. We have WordCamp Brno. It's in the Czech Republic, October 20th. We have WordCamp Cologne in Germany, October 20th and 21st, and WordCamp Taipei, October 21st as well. So if you're in those areas, you should definitely go to WordCamps. We also have two other events coming up. We have WooSesh, which is free, October 18th and 19th. I've signed up for that. It's all about WooCommerce. You should definitely check that out. It's free. It's online. There'll be a link in the show notes. I think you can actually go just to WooSesh.com. That's WOOSESH.com. Check that out. And another thing, if you're local here in the Research Triangle or North Carolina, Raleigh area, there's something called All Things Open, the ATO conference. It's really cool. It does cost money, more money than a typical WordCamp. I'm paid, I'm going. I applied to speak, didn't get selected this year. Totally okay. My friend Elisa, who was on episode 237, she's actually speaking. Should be a really good time. It is exploring open source, open tech, and open web in the enterprise world. It is at the Raleigh Convention Center, October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, a 3-day camp. And there's still tickets, I believe. There are. Let me just double check. What are the costs now? I believe the pricing for tickets is now $279 for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Yeah, and then $249 for Monday only. Yeah, and if you're a student, it's $79, etc. So there's some price breaks based on students. So I will be there. If you are a listener to the show and you're going to be there too, reach out and say hi. Love to meet you in person. Okay, moving on to segment 1 in the news. Not too much going on this week in the news. The one I want to share was Jetpack 6.6 has been released. It's updated to Jetpack. A couple of things here. Site verification tools that enables one-click verifications and a sitemap.xml. Also, registration with Google is built into it now. And also, the necessary infrastructure for Gutenberg blocks has been baked into Jetpack 6.6. So if you're a Jetpack user, back up your site and update Jetpack. Okay, moving on. Segment 2 this week is a Q&A episode. I actually have a handful of questions, about 4. They're pretty good questions, too. It's been about 8 weeks. Every 8 weeks or so, I do a Q&A. Okay, so first and foremost, first question by Andrew. Where do you find inspiration for podcasts, for content topics, for design? Ooh, it's a deep one. Well, Andrew, for content and podcasts, it really depends on what's going on in my day-to-day interactions with other WordPress people, with my clients and my business. I share pretty freely here that the overlap I have with Concierge WP. What I learn there, I share here. So that's how I do that. Also, based on the time of year, certain events help. Releases of core code, the holidays, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, of course. What else? And just stuff. And I have a list. We have a running list of things I want to talk about. And I have the next 4 or 5 episodes that I have topics, ideas for, and then I just take the time, or I make the time and take the time to prep as best I can. It just depends what's going on. So that's how I do it. And also I do the interview from time to time, every 6-8 weeks. So that is how I do it for the content for the podcast. I don't blog, so there's that. Actually, I just recently saw a post, and I'll share it in the show notes. Rene, a friend of mine from one of the Slack channels I'm in, she's in a mastermind of mine as well. She just did an article on how to come up with ideas for content, and I will link to that in the show notes as well. Unless I can find it right, I'll just link to it. Okay, and then also for design, well, other websites, I look at sites all the time. We all do. Photography, art, books I've been reading. And I get a lot of good ideas in the shower, like most people do. And sadly, they go down the drain when you get out of the shower. So I try to make a point of writing them down right when I get out, or record them in an audio file on my phone or something like that. So yeah, you just got to pay attention and keep a piece of paper and a pad next to your nightstand. You never know where an idea might just hit you. The muse comes out at the most inopportune times, I tend to find. A lot of times when I'm running or when I'm on a walk or working out with a podcast, I'll actually hit stop. I'll go and create a new document, a new Evernote, or even a new OmniFocus task. I'll remember that way as well, a reminder. So, okay, hope that helps, Andrew. And moving on, question number 2, how are you motivated, intrinsic or extrinsic? This is sent in by Claudio. Thanks, Claudio. So for those who don't know what this means, let's look at it. So let's look at running. Sammy is intrinsically running, motivated to run. Intrinsic motivation is when you do something because you enjoy it or find it interesting. Compare that to, say, Danny, whose reason for running involves extrinsic motivation or doing something for external rewards to avoid a negative consequence. So intrinsic is derived from intangible factors. That you do something because it makes you feel good. Extrinsic is something you're doing for, let's say, profit, right? You have a job because it gives you money, or you're creating a service because you want to make money doing it, that kind of thing. So me, both. Some things I like to do because it's for me, and for my just running. I like to exercise because I want to stay fit. I have 3 kids I want to keep up with. From a business perspective, I need to do that to provide. Intrinsic, like what do I like to do? So fitness for me would be intrinsic, I suppose. I haven't really enrolled or registered for a race, so yeah. I'm probably 50-50. And some people I think are probably down that road as well. Unless you're a philanthropist and you have $1 billion to give away, then, I don't think you don't have to worry about making money anymore. So you don't have to worry about those aspects. So it's something to think about and dive into to see what works for you. But I think having a healthy dose of both works out just fine for me. So I hope that answers your question, Claudio. Okay. Question number 3. Can someone still make money with the idea of running a marketplace or a forum? This is sent in by Drew. So short answer, maybe. And as we always say in WordPress, it depends. I say that because I believe it comes down to the audience itself. If you have an audience, it's much, much easier. And you can also then poll your audience. You can send off an email. You can do a survey, a form, say, hey, I'm creative of doing this, a forum or a marketplace to sell XYZ for all of us, in a focused area per se. Let's say you're making custom yo-yos. I don't know where that came from. Or you're making pottery, right? You can ask other artisans in that audience that you may have. Maybe you're part of a co-op and say, hey, I might put together a marketplace. Do you want to join in? And I'll run it. You can sell your goods. I'll take a small cut, that kind of thing, to manage it. So if you're starting from zero, is it still possible to make it a go? I say go in like air quotes. It could. It just might take longer. It might take a lot more time and traction to take off. So if you're looking to monetize it, at least, if you're trying to do it out of the goodness of your own heart again, well, then it doesn't really matter how long it takes, right? So in a forum, same thing. I actually spoke to. I was hired a couple months back by my buddy Paul over at Moti App regarding the forums. They have this service that they're trying to do within colleges, and they kept getting feedback about doing the forum. So what they do, they kind of not scrapped the website, but they have a WordPress website. That's why I gave them feedback on and some UX, UI results. But they went to a forum. They're using, I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden. I was actually messing with it myself. Oh my gosh, I'll have to think of it in a second. Discourse. They went to Discourse, and it's doing great. It's much better. So they are answering the question that they asked. They're providing that answer, so they're going to the forum based. So anyway, you can make ROI. You can make money. You can do this. It's just like anything else. It takes time and energy and focus. Okay, so that's number 3. 4th and final question. This is a deep one. This is kind of technical. Okay, I was at a conference recently, and I overheard some developers talking about serialized data. I looked it up, but not sure what I need to know anything more, as I'm a beginner developer. This is for Mori. Short for Morimoto. Okay, so I've heard of it too. I have actually, and I looked into it for you. It's a bit technical, and basically this is the answer, Mori. PHP has a function called serial, with 2 parentheses, which stores an array of data as a serialized row. Let's open that to an array. An array, or more specifically, an array of variables, lets you save multiple pieces of data using just one variable. Okay, so without getting too deep here in the woods, the context of the data storage is the process of translating data structures or object. Yeah, this is getting too deep. I mean, I picked this out. It makes sense to me for the most part on a high level, but okay, so final answer. As a beginning developer, I'm not so sure you need to know this at the moment. I'm a strong believer that what you need to know is at-time learning, because these days you can go online. At the time you need to learn something, you go look it up, research it, and implement it. Simple as that, okay? Progress, not perfection, is another one I like to say to myself a lot. So don't worry about knowing every term all the time, when in passing and listening to people. So you're on the right track because you have interest in it. That's fantastic. But as a beginner developer, I don't think you need to worry about this just yet. So maybe as an intermediate developer, might make more sense. And you'll have a reason to use it as well. So once you get into arrays, variables and arrays, it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so there you have it. 4 questions from Q&A. If you have any questions, you know where to send them. I'll get to that in a second. Moving on, first and foremost, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This is thanks to my friend Tara. I signed up for this service. It's called Rescue Time. There's a free level and a paid level. It's a little app that you install on your computer. It has a backend to a website. It tracks what you do on your computer, where you're spending time, what apps, what websites, etc. Really cool. I'm on the free level. And honestly, I was a little nervous because I wanted to be motivated and make sure I was productive all the time during the business hours. You can actually have it turn off after 6 p.m. so it doesn't track you anymore when you're off work per se, but we're always working in this entrepreneurial life of ours, right? So that said, I decided to just chill about it for a bit. I'm taking a full week without worrying about it. I'm just going to do my normal day-to-day life, let it track me, and then I'm going to go ahead and evaluate where I'm spending a ton of time. Additionally, I know Tara does this, and I'm just did this as well. I've re-upped my use of Toggle, so I can then kind of fill in the blanks using the rescue time information into Toggle to track client work, because I need to do a much better job of that. So I just know where I'm spending the time, how long things are really taking, and I'm just doing Toggle manually at the moment. Well, actually, I installed the Chrome plugin as well, but I haven't really used it yet. So there you have it. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week is Rescue Time. Link in the show notes. That's over, I think it's just at rescuetime.com. Yeah, that's it. So, okay. So I'm going to wrap it up here. First, before that, I wanted to thank everybody for reaching out to me regarding last week's episode on mental health, my mental health, the Mental Health Day, World Day. Very supportive. I do appreciate all the kind words. I'm fine. Well, I mean, we're all fine, right? I'm good. Not to concern anybody, overly concern anybody. I just really, from my heart of hearts, I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate the fact that you reached out to me. I thought I got through the episode pretty well. And truth be told, I cut out one section. I mean, I just, kind of choked up in one area. Nobody knows where it is. Doesn't matter. But I do appreciate the support and the kind words. Okay, so moving on. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email. I'm adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use the SpeakPipe functionality of the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, kitchensinkwp.com/Patreon, Patreon. If you want to support the show as a sponsor, you can do that too, by all means. There's a button on the website itself to fill it out, a form, and it'll come to me and we'll talk. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. Bye-bye.